Hey Tom, what's
Hey,
up?
well, no, I just wanted to chat. So, I know that you were a Remax agent before Keller Williams, right?
I was a Remax agent for 26 years.
26 years. So, can you tell me a little bit about what has changed in your business since coming over to KW and kind of what you attribute that to?
Well, believe it or not, 26 years into the business. Actually, I was in business 30 years when I joined Keller Williams because I was with Mom and Pop before Remax. I just could not believe the training and the structure. Now, you would think that someone who has been in the business for 30 years,
Wouldn't need a lot of training.
yeah, wouldn't need a lot of training, wouldn't need, however, guess what? It changes all of the time. Our industry, now this year I'm coming up on my 40th year in the industry, and what it has taught me is number one, I'm very calm. I can see what's going on in the market and when it happens, and I can almost tell you what the next thing is going to be that's going to happen. Keller Williams, though, has been able to enable me through classes and the MREA model to take that to another step to make my business, and I had a pretty strong business over at Remax 26 years. But in the last 10 years, my business has grown. My profit and loss has been, my profitability is way up. And it's sort of the kind of thing that you really need to experience.
Yeah. And for you non-KW agents out there, the MREA models and systems are really, I think what it does is it makes you look at your business in a way that you haven't done it before. A lot of people are just running to the next deal, to the next deal, to the next deal without having like an understanding or a grasp of what their profitability is. Do you have a P&L? Do you have these things, or are you just kind of running around with blinders on? And I know for me, once I started treating it like a business and really like being aware of profitability, it allows you to make informed decisions, right? And
Exactly.
to kind of grade those decisions, are they adding to your bottom line or are they not? And it was really once I started looking at the business as a business is when it really exploded, because it was 2019 really that I had my first P&L in real estate, and 2020 I experienced massive growth when most agents shut it down. I know you had a good year in 2020 too, right?
I had a fantastic year in 2020. However, I do, and anyone who knows me, I attribute that to my written goals, and I knew exactly what the plan was. And when the pandemic shut us down, and remember in Pennsylvania, it shut us down totally.
Long time.
Right, when it shut us down, I needed to write another GPS, and I needed to really make sure I was making my calls. I knew what my clients needed, because everybody was a little frightened during that period of time. No one knew what was going to happen. And when we could bring to our clients assurance that we knew what was going to happen, and we were sure, if you were done with your 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath colonial, we would be able to sell it and get you into the right kind of a living situation. Or if all of a sudden you added some children and that condo wasn't working for you anymore, we were able to help those people right along the way.
I think the big thing you said there is fear, right? And in 2020, everybody to some degree had some fear, if not a lot of fear, if not crippling fear. And a lot of agents actually shut it down and started collecting unemployment, which is crazy. But, I think with both of us,
Right.
The reason we got through it, and not only got through it, but sort of thrived through it and grew through it, was because we got in front of it and said, no, there are solutions, things can still happen, we do have regulations, things are changing, but we're still moving forward. And it's interesting now with the NAR settlement and things like that. It's a similar, totally different, not as much fear, but it's a similar sort of thing. Like just knowing that, okay, things have changed a little, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Everything's still moving forward, and just being able to communicate that with our clients, I think, is hugely important and comforting for them. Because,
And-
you know, trust is everything.
Oh, it
Everything
really
trust.
is. And with the NAR settlement, that was one thing I didn't have fear over,
Yeah.
because I knew the state of Pennsylvania, and I know the way we run our business.
Yeah, it's tight. It's airtight.
It was airtight. We have always disclosed where every cent of a seller's money and a buyer's money is put.
Right.
So we just continued, and we talked to our clients. I can't tell you, I get asked about it almost every other day.
I know. The only difference is now we have to have, well, one of the only differences is we need to have a signed buyer agency contract before we can take you to a house.
And
That's-
we do.
We didn't always. I mean, I will say I did run buyers before
Mhm.
without a signed contract, but now that that's a rule, okay, fine. And then
Yeah.
just making them understand that is all. It just says I'm committed to working on your behalf, and you're committed to working exclusively with me.
Right. And sometimes when we first meet someone and they don't know us at all, it can be a non-exclusive.
Yeah.
Try
right.
us out.
Yep.
You know, you test drive a car, well, you know, try us out.
Yeah.
We'll show you why you need us, and what we can, more importantly, what we can do for you, your family, your money, anything along those lines.
Yeah, and actually, kudos to Pennsylvania Association of Realtors for coming up with some new forms to really kind of bridge the gaps where people may have some uncertainty. So I think that overall it hasn't changed anything. I haven't really had
No.
any major objections with that. But bouncing back to your business in 2020 specifically, you not only grew your business, but you also grew your reach. Right?
My
your
reach.
network.
Yes,
of
my
people.
network. So
I
what
mean,
happened?
Would you? Is it safe to say it went up 100x since 2020? Your
Oh
reach?
yeah. What happened was around, it was March 2020. There was, and I'll give him credit, James Shaw, good old James Shaw.
Yeah.
He had this Zoom call, and people being agents, all got on it at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we were all frightened. We were from all across the country. Well, what has happened is these people who were on that call, you know, many of them are my friends right now. I
Four
can
and a half
call
years
them up.
ago, yeah.
Yeah, 4.5 years ago. It's kind of crazy, you know, someone in a box that we looked at, and we were able to talk about what our practices and our systems were, and how we were taking care of our clients during this time. We were making what was called care calls. We weren't calling people saying, buy a house, sell your house, do you know anyone who wants to buy a house? We were calling people saying, how can we take care of you?
Right, because
What do
people
you
were getting
need?
laid off, mortgages were put in forbearance.
Right.
There was all kinds of things financially on individuals that are in our database. And you know, I remember because I was on those calls too for a long time, and like a lot of people were just quietly suffering, and nobody
Yes.
knew about it. And so we made it a priority to call people and just check in. And
Yeah.
James Shaw, amazing work he does. I mean, he basically created this huge, ultra mastermind where not only you're sharing your systems, not only you're reading books
Mhm.
together and reinforcing the things that we know we need to be doing on a daily basis, but also to finding unique solutions to
Mhm.
problems state by state or issue by issue, and having the support of hundreds of agents that pop on, and you became friends with them. You now, I mean, a lot of them send you referrals now because they know you're the Philly Metro agent
Yep.
over here. And so, yeah, I think you've done a great job using that to grow your reach, and your business is growing accordingly.
And what's important about it, when my clients need someone out of the Philadelphia metropolitan area, I know who to go to.
Yeah, you actually know them.
I know what their skill levels are, and I am able, many times I'll call someone in the Carolinas and I'll say, who do you have for Wake Forest? And one of those agents might say, you need to use, this guy, he is the best there is. So that when my clients do the transfer, they're being taken care of, and they're being taken care of in the same way that we would take care of them, or I have taken care of them over the past 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah. So it's election day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And by the time that this clip comes out, the election day will be over with.
Okay, so we are from the great state of Pennsylvania, and if anyone hasn't heard, we are like one of those big states and I cannot wait for the advertisements, the commercials. I cannot wait for the candidates to stop coming to our area because they tie up traffic, like they just And I do think, now tell me, Tom, what you think, because these ads are so negative, and I'm not talking either side of.
Yeah, they're both the same.
Yeah, they're so negative. I think people are getting depressed and beat up that I meet, and it's like, okay, guys, get us to Tuesday, and they're going to stop.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are very invested in this emotionally, and there is a lot of fear. I think that's their primary goal, is to make people fear their opposition so that they'll just vote for them by default. I am more so concerned. I mean, listen, the election's going to go the way it's going to go. Get out and vote. Do a good job. Support who you want to support, and that's cool with me. But I just think that from a real estate standpoint, I feel like some people may have shifted focus, for a little bit. I still see the market moving. I mean, you just got a deal under contract yesterday.
Yes.
That was.
I have another one sitting on my desk now.
Another contract on your desk. I have offers out right now, and showings happening right after this talk here. So, the market's still moving. Generally, though, you've been in the business for a long time. Around elections, talk to me about interest rates and buyer activity.
Okay, so this is the great thing about being in the same industry for a long period of time. You almost, like I said, you almost know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you who's going to be president. I can't tell you what is eventually going to come down. But what I do know is everyone needs to go on. You need to buy a house. You need to, doesn't matter what interest rates are. They go up, they come down. I've seen it happen my whole career. There were some times, way back when I first got in, rates were 12%. And then in 2 years, they went below 10 and the market went crazy. So I do think everything's going to work out fine. I've been here for a lot of presidents. I can't even tell you how many presidents. And guess what? I'm still here. And my clients are still here. My family is too.
What about home values? Because, interest rates generally have a direct or indirect relationship with home values and sale prices and things like that. I know a couple years ago when the interest rates were high sevens, we thought we were kind of topping out. We thought that the market was kind of reaching the point where it was starting to level off, if not come down. And there may have been a couple weeks where it did look that way. But since then, nope. And it isn't because of interest rates, it's because of supply.
Inventory.
There's no supply. And people, like you said, people always have to move.
Yeah.
So what's your take on future outlook of home values?
Basically, we have an inventory problem. That's what we have right now. And we have an inventory problem for a couple of reasons. We can go way back to 2008, 9, 10, when they stopped building and builders stopped developing land. That really pushes new construction back, and we can feel it still in 2024. The other thing is that we have some people that are sitting on very low interest rates. They may be in that big home, and they may be in a 3 to 4% interest rate, but guess what? Right now, they are ready to go to the over 55.
Yeah.
They're ready to move somewhere, to retire. And they keep on saying, but I got this interest rate. I get it. However,
You also got the big heap though, and the big, you know what I mean?
right,
Doing a downsize move, even if it doesn't affect financially, because
Yes.
you are going to have a higher interest rate if you get a mortgage. It may be a wash on your monthly expense. However, you're looking at lifestyle, right? And that's really why people move, is because of lifestyle. It's not just because
yes,
of I want luxury or
No.
you know. Lifestyle changes cause people to move.
and if you need a 1-floor property, you need to be on 1 floor, then you should get it. Your life depends on it. If you need a couple more bedrooms because you have a couple more children running around the house, you know, your nervous system needs it. If you want to have a very healthy family, you need room, and you can afford it. You need room to raise those kids.
Right. And interest rates are what they are. We
Mhm.
can't control that. However, we kind of know that prices are going to continue to go up. So whether you do it now or do it
Yeah.
later, I think it's going to be cheaper if you do it now than if you wait 2 years, 3 years to do it, even if the rates come down.
It's always cheaper if you do it now.
Yeah, the best time to buy real estate's
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, it always is. They say, I've heard people say, I'm going to wait to buy real estate. No, you buy real estate and then you wait.
Yeah. Yep.
And I know you have investment properties, I have investment properties, and I'm very happy with their values at
Yep.
this point. And if I didn't take the jump, the leap when I did, I wouldn't have that appreciation.
Yeah, and it's very rarely going to be a comfortable thing. Whether you're buying an investment property, selling a primary,
Okay.
buying a primary, whatever you're doing, it's
Yeah,
very rarely going to be comfortable, and people just have to, you know, in my opinion, what do you want, and be clear on what you
Right.
want, big picture. And then I ask myself, does this align with my 5-year goal? Does this align with my 10-year goal? And if it does,
exactly.
then I can endure some uncomfortability. After we bought our investment property down in Myrtle Beach, for example, like, I strapped myself a little bit. I did. And I was just kind of like, but what did that do? I put my back up against a wall and I just dug into work and just sold more houses, and everything's fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
You weather the
Right.
storm, you get through it, but it aligned with my 10-year goal.
And I love that you bring that up. The feeling, yesterday, I sold a house, and my client had been making these plans for years, and it's with retirement and moving down south. And all of a sudden I said, well, we're here, we've got it, the house is sold, this is exciting. And she said to me, this is scary, I am nervous. Oh, it is normal.
It is normal. They
It
say
is
it's
normal.
the second most stressful event, right? The
Mhm.
death of a loved one, death of a spouse, and selling real estate, moving.
Moving,
You know, moving is a
everything
bear.
is moving. You know, the cats, the dogs, the kids, and all your money too.
And you forget about all those marks behind the mirror on the wall
Yeah.
and things like that. You know, there's a million things that come up. But we're here just to make it as easy as possible on you. We can't make sure,
Right.
like, we can't promise everything's going to go perfect all the time, because inevitably there's snags that happen that we can't
Mhm.
foresee. But, you know, the one thing that we promise all our clients is that we're going to be working around the clock to make sure it's as easy as possible on you.
Yes, I mean, there's always something that is going to come up in a transaction. Either you're going to say in a home inspection, I'll fix that window, and then we can't find the window. Guess what? We found it today. So it's one step at a time. Don't, just be calm. Our job is to take care of you, and we will.
You want to pause it, Wendy, just because I don't want too big of